So we left off our last video on forms mentioning Immersive Reader. So Immersive Reader does exist within Microsoft Forms. It exists in pretty much everything from Microsoft now. And what I have right here is a document that is inside of Teams. So Immersive Reader certainly does work within Teams. So it's just a Word document that has a lot of text on it. And if I click on View and then Immersive Reader, you'll see it changes the view entirely. So Immersive Reader is an entire suite of reading accessibility tools. And it does certainly read aloud, but we're going to show you it does a whole lot more than that. This first tab is all about visuals. So not everybody who has a reading difficulty necessarily has a decoding issue. A lot of times visual can play a big part there. Text size does only so much, but we find that increasing spacing sometimes makes a much bigger difference. I don't know if you've ever seen an IEP that says reduce visual clutter on the page, but that goes a long way towards doing that. There's three kind of simple fonts. Microsoft picked these two, and then students actually picked, no surprise, Comic Sans, although it does make G's this way and A's this way, unlike a lot of fonts. This third one, themes, you do have the night mode or dark mode that you probably have on your tablet or phone. These other colors, if you look up Irlen, that's IRLEN, Irlen.org. There's decades of research into colors. You may have seen students maybe put a color transparency on top of what they're reading. That's what this is all about. And then for the rest of us, it's just a matter of preference. Next tab is grammar options, so you can break into syllables. I like to choose this particular document for this because it points out that if you teach reading or elementary reading, you would probably break this up with a one-syllable word with a suffix between the D and the ED. But if you say the word blended out loud, that's the approach they went for, is how does it sound when you break it up. So don't be offended, reading teachers. Blended learning. Right? You can also color code parts of speech and choose different colors for each of them. I'm colorblind, so that alone doesn't do much for me, but you can show labels for anything that you have the color turned on for. Next tab over, line focus. This one's really cool. I don't have a reading difficulty, but if I'm reading a textbook, I will often put an index card or something underneath whatever line I'm reading and slide my way down. And this is kind of the digital version of that. So not only does it only highlight one line at a time, it still highlights each word that's being read. And I don't know if you noticed that you don't have to track visually down the page. It brings each line up to the highlighted line as it reads. And of course, there is also reading aloud in there. Picture dictionary. So if the word exists in, oops, that one doesn't. If the word exists in BoardMaker, then it will show up here when you click on it. Not every word exists within BoardMaker, but a lot of them do. And next up is choose a language to translate into. There's about 70 right now, including not just Spanish, but you have Spain, Mexico, or Latin American Spanish. And you can turn that on for the entire document. Depending on the language, most of these other features will appear. Obviously, syllables might not make a whole lot of sense in Chinese, or I should just stop there. I don't know any other languages. We'll just leave it at that. So just exit it here, and I'm back into Teams, and I am inside of a Word document. So this is Word Online right inside of Teams. If I close this, I get back into the post thread. This exists in other places in Teams as well. If I click on any post that has text, I have Translate and Immersive Reader, so I can open just that piece of the conversation right here, and I get all of those same options again. All right, so Immersive Reader is now, well, it started in OneNote and then in Word and even Outlook. It's in Teams. It's spread across pretty much everything, Microsoft Office, and both the online versions and the desktop versions. So that's great if you only have Chromebooks. It works, actually, it even works better in Word Online than it does in Word Desktop. Microsoft also owns Minecraft Education Edition and Flipgrid, so you'll find it in those places. But they even went beyond that and made the code available to any third party that wants to use it. So websites like Wakelet and Nearpod, I think we're up to about 4 different activities in Nearpod where you can turn on Immersive Reader. So any company that wants to add this accessibility feature to their site beyond Microsoft, Microsoft has made it available to them, but it is throughout anything that has text in Microsoft Teams. And keep in mind that you get the online version of everything like OneNote and Word and PowerPoint right here within Teams as well. So it works in Class Notebook and other OneNote notebooks here. And as we started with, it does also work within Forms. Okay, so that's Immersive Reader, the reading accessibility tool from Microsoft that we are featuring in our class team.